Hi guys, so today we're just going to go a little more into what piecewise functions are. Again, you don't have to actually graph them in order to find the limit, which is where you see the piecewise functions, but it is something good to know, especially if you are about to go into calculus. So for this function, f of x, which is another way to say y equals x plus 1. So I'm just going to take a sidebar here. Y equals x plus 1. Anytime x is to the first power, you have a linear function, which correlates here in this case with mx plus b. So I know that my y-intercept is at 1. And the slope, which is the coefficient in front of x, is 1. Fraction form is 1 over 1, because remember, slope is rise over run, how many times you're going up and to the right. And if you want to make another point up and to the right, or you can also do the opposite and go down and to the left. And this will be your line, which I cannot draw a straight line, so just bear with me here. So this will be your line for y equals x plus 1. We call it piecewise functions because you are only taking a piece of that graph. So you are only using this function if x is less than 1. So notice here's where x is 1. All the numbers that are less than 1 are to the left of it. So that means I'm going to erase everything to the left of 1. Oh, sorry. I'm going to keep everything to the left of 1. So I'm only using this function where x is less than 1. So all of those numbers to the right of 1, which are greater than 1, are going to be gone. Also, notice how it's just where x is less than 1. It does not include 1, which means right where x is 1, that 0.12, I'm going to put an open circle. Now, this doesn't affect your limit because, again, we only care what happens as we approach the value. We don't actually care what happens at that value, which brings me to this second function right here. It tells you where x equals to 1. So this is going to be just a point. So again, f of x is another way to say y equals x minus 1. I know that x equals to 1. So this is just going to be a point. If x is 1, to get the y value, you just replace the x with the value they gave you, and you get y equals to 0. So at 1 comma 0, there is going to be a point. This does not affect your limit. This is just what happens exactly at 1. A limit is what happens as we approach 1. And then finally, y equals 2x. So I'm going to take a sidebar over here. Y equals 2x. Again, x is to the first power. This is a linear function, so it correlates with mx plus b, just b happens to be 0. So if I were to graph this line, my y-intercept would be at 0. The slope, which should be in fraction form, 2 over 1, means I go up 2 over 1. So there's a point right here, and then I keep going up 2 over 1, or I could do the opposite from the y-intercept, go down 2 to the left 1. But there's my line, which, again, I cannot draw a straight line, so you're going to have to work with me here. But there is a condition. I am only using this line for when x is greater than or equal to 1. Here's where x is 1. All the numbers greater than 1 are to the right. So that means everything to the left here I don't want. And so I'm going to get rid of anything to the left of 1 for this graph. And I'm going to keep this as a closed circle because this is where x is greater than or equal to 1. So this is my piecewise functions. They're pieces of a graph put together. If you were to find the limit as x approaches 1 from the left, and I'm just using just one example for this function, remember that you can use the graphing approach, now that you see x approaches 1 from the left. So I'm going to follow this road as x approaches 1 from the left side. And I know that my y value, or the limit that I'm approaching, is going to be 2. I could also do direct substitution. So the limit as x approaches 1 from the left means this is going to be the condition I use. All the numbers that are less than 1 are to the left of 1. So if I replace the x with 1, 1 plus 1 also gives me 2. So you could do it both ways, but this tutorial is more to just show you what a piecewise function is. And I hope that this helps.